Alright guys, welcome back. Today what we're going to look at is my account played by a G3 player. The player on my account is Michael. He's G3, usually around the top 50, something like that. And I thought it'd be interesting for you guys to see what choices he makes based on having played all the best players in the game constantly. Whereas for me, I generally sit around G1 and I've never fought that level of players consistently. So I was curious what he would do differently, what he would pick, what he would ban, how he would approach certain comps. So I think this will be a fun thing to see kind of what a G3 perspective on my account looks like. So we're going to get going. I'm going to try to run it a little bit faster than 1x speed, but I might need to slow it down to talk about a few things. So let's go ahead and get going. I think we've got about 9 matches here. We're on about 1.5 speed, and we're just watching replay, so we can really slow it down and take a look if we need to. So the draft, the opponent drafts Wusa, so this is a G1 player, but pretty high, 1926, right on the border of G2 at this time. And then he picks Perna Molong, Vanessa Oki, and then a Gani to finish up. So the opponent has Hathor Vivichel, which is crazy. Bans the Wusa, which is a good choice, I think, by him, because that's the only source of immunity. And we get right into the match. My Oki goes first. Goes for the reset on Hathor. Gets it, so Hathor's reset. So in terms of control, we're looking pretty good. He immediately launches into the destructive Reckless Assault from Molong into the Vivichel. And my note here from Michael says he intentionally tried to nuke down the Vivichel to force the heal since Hathor was reset. So I'll try to include his notes as we go because you don't want his perspective here as well, not just what I think he's doing. So he's working on bursting down that Vivichel. Let's see here. Okay, and he said he's picking the best rune units I have and the ones that work together well. So that's kind of the thought, which, makes sense. Alright, so we get the Okeanos here. Gets a 3-man stun, resets the Hathor again just to be safe. The interesting thing here is the only form of sustain is the Perna and the Vanessa revive. That's really it. But Perna sustain's pretty good. One thing I think I tend to do from watching some of these matches is I tend to overpick sustain. So usually I don't feel great unless I have 2 sustain sources. So a Rikuni and a Praha are usually kind of my go-tos. But from this match for sure, and some of the other matches you'll see, he has no problem with 1 or even no sustain into a lot of different comps. The live forever mechanic of Vanessa and or Triana sometimes can make up for that. So now we're just in mop-up mode, free fire against 1 water. Not ideal, but looking pretty good here. Whereas Camilla can really, she can really get it done. So she's working hard. So we get the win there, going into the next match. All right, let's slow it down. Take a look at the draft. So this is another G1, a little bit lower ranked. Same exact setup, even though it's a different player. Though this person shows more of a speed threat with the Ciara Orion, and he goes with the Vanessa Okeanos again, right into that. And then this person finishes up with the Faye and Railsveg, which is an interesting take on a speed team with the Wusa. Bans out the Vanessa on my team, and Michael bans out the Wusa on their team. So we're looking at sort of a semi-cleave team. So let's speed it up a little bit. Okay. So he says he picked this draft because the double heal into cleave with 2 death prevention mechanics via the revive he's going to try to tank it out. And he uses the Molong HP lead as another additional form of tank. So, good point. He was also saying he could have just banned the attack buff as well from the opponent, which makes sense. So let's speed it up just a little bit. So it's a cleave that's kind of falling apart. The Heraldsveg I have not seen a lot in Arena, but I'm assuming he's ruined Despair. That's kind of the PvP build for him. Maybe this person was just playing around with a few things, because this is a very kind of an awkward ruined situation really with the Fae lead. So we get the Fae down, and now we're just in cleanup mode here. I don't see a stun from the Heraldsveg though, so I'm not sure. But I'm also not seeing a Violent, so it's hard to say. But the tanking mechanic definitely worked well. We had 2 forms of sustain in this one. The Triana, which I know a lot of people are talking about as a great monster. I'm finding her really, really good, but watching Michael use her, I'm thinking maybe even if I like her a lot, I should like her more, because she's really, really effective. All right, let's slow it down for this draft. Molong first pick, you'll notice that's a theme. Molong first pick every single time he can. The opponent goes Gani Wusa, and he counters with Perna Oki again. So Perna Oki are really strong units for him, which makes sense. And then the opponent goes Poseidon Vanessa, and we finish up with Triana Bastet into a Theo. So this is a G2 player, over 100 points above. So let's take a look. Let's see here. Okay. So the Wusa gets the skill off. We're going to speed it up a little bit. We cut because the Wusa doesn't have a bar boost with the Bastet. And then we get the Oki, doesn't get the reset on the Poseidon. We'll speed up a little bit more. And he goes to work on the Vanessa. The Poseidon lands 2 slows and 1 stun, so that's a Despair Poseidon. Things to look for when you're playing a match is what's happening that indicates rune sets. And once you know that it's a Despair Poseidon, you know if you can control it, it can't violent out. So that's something to keep in mind. He gets the early kill on the Oki, which is partly being, 3 water versus 1 fire. I'm going to slow that down a little bit. And just a couple of unlucky things in terms of not landing the things we wanted to, especially with my Oki with accuracy slot 6. You would hope that that accuracy would lead to a reset first turn, but, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. All right, let's go into the third match here. Okay. So this is another G2, which is great. We want to see sort of some of the high-end play. You'll notice the drafts are very similar. Wusa first pick or Molong first pick is what you're going to see pretty much all day. Let me slow down even one more. So Michael goes Molong Perna into Wusa, and then the opponent counters with Oki Hathor, and then we go Gani Ethna into Ragdoll Fenyang, and then finish with Triana. So we've got 2 forms of sustain, 2 forms of strip, 1 single target, 1's AoE, and then the massive DPS from Perna. And we're dealing with a very kind of control-y comp, so let's speed it up a little bit. Alright, Wusa goes first. Now, one thing to note on my team, I'm just going to pause it right here, is I have 3 not on will, and the opponent had 3 on will. That was one of his notes, was that I was not on will as much as maybe I should be, and I probably should do a better job of that, especially for super important units like Perna and Triana, that if they get reset, if they get their bar reduced, anything like that, stunned, you're giving yourself a very poor chance of winning the match. So that's something I really need to work on, is will for everybody. It's not something I focus on, but it's something I need to do if I want to get better. So a lot of things I was learning, which is really great. All right, let's move into it. All right, so he resets with Triana, so that's my point right there. If I was on will, I have a decent chance of resisting that. Also, Will's Shield is a great way to mess up Okeanos' or Gemini, so that might be another choice. We kind of luck out in getting a massive kill on the Hathor with the Molong into the Perna, which is probably why he's going Molong Perna every match, is you're getting this 3-on-4 situation right away. And that match just goes super fast because we get the defense break and just finish it off quickly. So that was kind of what I should be trying to do all the time. Okay, let's see. I'm going to slow down the draft again. Okay, so one thing here to note is we go Molong again. Perna gets taken, so the opponent here knows that Perna is a high priority unit, like a top 2, top 3 draft. So he takes it right away. Then goes Yonhong, which if you have a Yonhong, you're going to use it every match. So there's a little bit of debate. Do you pick it early and lock it in, or do you pick it late as it's not going to get picked from you? So that was sort of an interesting choice. He got the Oki that we have, and we go with Garo and Bastet. So speed versus HP. Let's take a look. Speed it up a little bit. So his Oki goes first, goes to Rain of Stones, which is correct with 2 units not on will. If I had even one of those units on will, I don't think he would have gone for that. I don't think he goes Rain of Stones just for Garo. So another adjustment I need to make. Then the Sierra right into the Ganymede. Misses the reset, luckily. But we're already in trouble versus the Perna here. Being low and win versus a Perna is a bad look. The Garo gets really close to a kill, but not quite. So I feel like if I'm going to bring my Garo, I need him to probably be boosting my Okeanos' speed and hit harder. Like, we need to get that kill there. We can't let Sierra stick around because bombs happen. So we get the stun with the Oki, but the Perna's slowly bringing everybody back up. And we're just a little bit behind the 8 ball here. And the issue here is the Molong doesn't have any heal support, so we're not going to get that third skill again. Some people get around this, like I'm pretty sure Barian runs his on a vampire, or at least he has in the past, maybe he doesn't anymore. But a vampire build for Molong can let him do his skill twice, even with no sustain, so it gives him a little more versatility. Not necessary, but a little bit of a passive heal never hurt anybody, so maybe a Raccoon or a Iris or something like that would be useful. So we lose that one. Perna procs into the kill, which is fine, but we were kind of behind the game to start. All right, let's see here. So one thing he's saying too, I think we're going to look at a Diana match coming up soon. So this is, I think this is Sai, which we fought several times. Sai takes the Molong first turn, so we go Perna Gani, and then Sai goes Aladriel Wusa, Michael picks Ethna Vanessa, and then Sai goes with Oki Rika, and we finish with the Triana. So interesting. Bans out the Aladriel right away, and then the Ethna on our side is banned. So we've got a speed lead versus an HP lead. So one thing to notice, he goes first, even with an HP lead, versus my speed leader. That's a fast unit. And then the issue is again on my side, not having Will. Getting full stunned. He resets the Gani. Gets a triple stun off the Molong. And then picks his kill target. It's going to be Vanessa. Which, we're not in huge trouble yet because we've still got a little bit of sustain with the Triana and the ability to not die. But the Rika's dots are just brutal. The amount of HP we're going to lose with no cleanse. I feel like fighting a Rika is very difficult in most circumstances, and especially if you don't have a cleanse, it can be really difficult. I don't really have an option in my box to bring a good cleanse, like an Annabelle or a Nikki. Maybe my Jemire, but that's semi-situational, I don't know. So that's the issue for me and Rika's. We're going to speed it up a little bit. One note that Michael has is paying attention to opponent's bars as much as possible. So you have a, you have a full, however long it is, 10 seconds like that to make a move. So we lose that one to Sai, going into the next match. You have a certain amount of time to make your choice, and you should evaluate each step. So it's a rematch against Sai. Let's take a look. You should evaluate each step along the way. Just slow down on the draft to make sure you're making the right choice. So Sai goes more control with Varad. We get the Oki that time, but late. So this will be a comp that we've had several times before with the Vanessa Perna Molong. So let's take a look at the speed here. Do we outspeed this comp by him? We do. So we get the reset on the Varad, which is great, and he goes to work on the Triana right away. So what I was saying is you want to look at the opponent's bars every time and decide what the next sequence of 3 or 4 monsters is going to be, if you can tell. And if you know what that sequence is going to be, you can make the best choices possible. He says sometimes people YOLO into certain units because they just want them dead and they're just kind of in the flow of the game, but they actually are making mistakes they don't realize because there's a different way to get a kill, or there was a combo that was coming up that they could have set up. So those are the sort of things that he's looking for with every play that you probably want to be looking for too if you're trying to take your game to the next level here. So we got the Triana dead. Perna's a little bit low. Gani is resetting everybody. Unfortunately, he resets the Vanessa right before the Perna goes down. Molong gets the removal, but the Amalia is going to keep putting it up. We're working on the Gani now. And the Gani's attacking into fire, so that's probably a decent situation for us. But if the Vrad's going to get control like that, that's going to be a problem. Molong gets reset. Amalia turns into a pony, takes down the Oki. We reset the Varad again, and Sai gets the win again. So Sai is really good. He knows what he's doing. Alright, let's take a look at this match against smiley-faced guy. Slow it down for the draft. Michael picks Molong, pick 1. He goes Wusa Diana. So this guy clearly has a goal against Molong's, which is Diana, which is smart. That's a good counter for Diana. Michael counters with Perna Ethna. The opponent goes Aladriel Raccoon. And then we go Gani Vanessa. So one unit you'll notice making all these matches is Vanessa. And then he goes Josephine, which is really cool against control and inability effects. Michael bans out the Aladriel, and the Ganymede is banned on our side. So we've got 3 forms of defense break, Perna to back it up, and the massive sustain from Perna. It's amazing how many matches Perna is making it into. That sort of surprised me. Perna's not a high ban unit, it's a high use unit. Very interesting. So this guy gets into the situation of having 3 units not on will. We get the defense break on the Diana, but not the stun. We cut in with the Molong, which is kind of rare to cut a Diana in between turns. So we take a little bit less damage than we would have if the Diana was in pony form. Okay. So one thing that Michael says about the Diana is he changed form when he had full attack bar. So he got cut there, which we noticed, and that kind of cost him. That kind of cost him pretty badly. He could have stayed in pony form, not got cut, and maybe not gotten damaged as much, or had my Molong not. My Molong would have lost more HP. One thing he says about Triana is Violent Will, which we talked about, and 1 speed slower than the slowest monster, so that you can take an entire turn, even if you're on Will. I'll slow this down while we talk about this. You can take an entire round of turns from your team, and then she puts up Will to end it. Doesn't even use it as a heal, uses it as an immunity. So it's like 2 full turns of Will. So what he was saying is, you know, if you go first, you finish your turn with Triana, so you're full Will going into your opponent's turn. And if you go second, you still have your Will on all your monsters. So you win-win either way. You have immunity going first, you have immunity going second. So I thought that was a really interesting point about what makes Triana strong. You know, you could do it with Harmonia as well, just as easily. It's these 1-turn immunity monsters that are interesting. So let's pause this after the opponent picks his last pick. Okay, so this is clearly a cleave, right? If you find yourself, you know, in RTA, you're going to face cleaves at some point. Some people can cleave all the way up. I've seen them in G2. I'm sure there's G3 cleaves. I have not faced one recently, if at all. But these cleaves are really effective because they have a clarity of purpose, and they've kind of thought around all the issues that can go wrong with their team. They still lose, you know, a decent amount of the time, but they win fast and they get their matches in quickly. So let's look at this opponent's cleave. To me, if you're going to cleave an RTA, you probably need Bastet and Triana. You can't really get away with having one that I've seen. Some people try to use a Gemini, which is fine. Has another it has a cleanse and a speed lead, maybe. But to me, the ones that are devastating are the Triana Bastet, because what do you ban, right? So we pick Molong, they pick Sierra Bastet. Michael counters with Pernagani into Triana Lucian. Into Tiana Lucian, and then we go Triana Vanessa, and he finishes with Zyra. So what are we looking at here? The attack buff from Bastet is dangerous because it turns Lucian into just an AoE killing machine and makes Zyros also really good. Sierra is a single target threat and a speed lead, which means I don't know what the turn order is going to be anymore if I allow Sierra. The Zyros is a reset, which is devastating against my double revive team, plus Perna. So it's a tough situation because you don't know what to ban, and you don't really know which of his boosters is fastest. You would assume Tiana is fastest because he would want to clear all my will so that he could reset, right? So in theory, looking at a team like this, it goes Tiana to clear the will, boost the team, into Bastet to boost them further, give them attack bar, and then Zyros, Sierra, either order. It wouldn't make a lot of sense for Tiana to be slower than Bastet, so something to keep in mind if you face these teams. So let's see how it plays out. Speed it up a little bit. So Michael bans Lucian, and Vanessa is banned on my side, because the opponent doesn't know what my speed is either. So Tiana goes first, does the full cleanse, Bastet goes next, and then we get Zyros, Fiery Breath, the reset. Looks like he gets full reset, I didn't quite see it. And then Sierra bombs Triana, Triana dies, and now we're 3-on-4 immediately. So being 3-on-4 to start is a great place to be to start a match. So this is how this guy wants every match to go. And then it's just a matter of, can your opponent recover in time to not die? So luckily Ventilate was up. We ventilated the Molong. Got the kill on Sierra. Perna's cooldown was up. Probably didn't get reset. We seal the Bastet. And we go to work on the Zyros. Perna's super strong. So we get the kill there, but things could have gone badly. You know, could have gone much worse. So I believe, was that the last match we have here? I believe it was. So that's kind of where we're going to end it here. Let me see if we have any other notes. No, we don't. Just one thing to note is units like Triana. I have mine on defense HP, speed defense HP. I think I need to switch that to HP because she's a burn target, and most people are going to defense break her and then burn her down. So that defense isn't going to really kick in, which is a late match mechanic in RTA. So little tweaks like that are things I'm going to be looking at moving into next season. The Vanessa pick, I feel like he picked it every single time he was able. I did not value Vanessa that highly, but clearly I need to. She brings a lot to the table that's sort of, it's very supportive in nature, but it's all the things you want. It's speed lead, revive, defense break, all that stuff. And mine's also not on violent, so I think that's going to be a change I'm going to make as well. So I hope that was interesting to you. If you enjoyed it, let me know. I found it really interesting, so I wanted to share it. Thank you to Michael for letting me share this with everybody and kind of explaining to me what was going on in your head. You did a lot differently than I would have done, which is cool to see. You didn't bring Raccoon or Praha once, and that's probably something I need to focus on a little more in the future. But anyway, I'm going to leave Michael's Twitch in the description here. I think he's just getting started on Twitch, so if you want to see him, he'll play RTA for users' accounts and all sorts of good stuff. So let me know what you think, and I will catch you next time. Take care, everybody.